Grace and peace as we're talking about the wilderness as we're preparing to enter into the Lenten season. So I hope you'll enter into just a bit of narrative verse with me to talk about the wilderness and the desert and our connection. So in those days, Jesus came from Nazareth in Galilee. He was baptized by John in the Jordan, and the Spirit immediately drove him out into the wilderness. Yes, that's how it happened. And the desert, the wilderness. You see, once we stood by the clear waters and we knew exactly who we were. We did. We knew who we were in the church and we knew where we were going. But now we're in the desert, and this is uncharted territory. It's very severe. It seems bleak, yet we know there's promise. But the rules are different, and the old ways, they just don't work. This is a lonely place. It feels a little dangerous. There could be snakes, maybe scorpions. We've been stripped of illusions, and it looks a little barren here. We have a lot of questions. We're in the desert and we're waiting for God to speak. But what we hear is turn these stones into bread. Mm-hmm. We want instant solutions, quick fixes. You see, what if we just changed a little bit here, maybe added some chairs or changed the way we prayed or just tried to make things look a little bit more lovely. Maybe if we just made it smell better, that would work. And we hear the tempter say, go on, turn the stones into bread. Bread like we used to have, like it used to be in the old days, in that warm hearth in Nazareth. It was so good. Can't you just smell the bread? We hear it's written. You cannot live by bread alone. We need more than that in a desert place. We do remember that we need every word that comes from the mouth of God, that living word, our living God. Here in the desert, we need to be shown the next step. What is it that your church is supposed to be in this uncharted land? We seem to just be sitting here in the sand. How is it that we can find you? Will you find us? When we hear the tempter say, look, here are all the kingdoms of the world, and I'll give you these if you just worship me. And we think, wouldn't that be easier? Wouldn't that be a whole lot easier? Couldn't we just join everybody else? Apathy and misery, they totally love company. And we could worship at the church of sleeping in whenever we wanted. And we could congregate with the latest Kardashian or the want-to-be. We could worship at a holy catalog church. We really could. And we could have everything we wanted because it's available at a price. I wonder what that price would be. Worship the Lord your God and serve only Him. Who could we turn to? Who gives us life that is true life when we walk through the wilderness? We know you are with us. You see, Jesus answered the tempter, do not put the Lord your God to the test. So we pray, God help us, because it's really hard to find some energy right now, because the sand is pushing against us and we're stumbling in the wilderness. And it's really hard to find a way, to see a way, because the old signposts, they're gone. And we have a lot of sand dunes, and we can't do a quick fix. And we also know we can't give up. And we also know we can't leave it to someone else. And we do remember that it was Jesus, filled by the power of the Spirit, who returned. and came from the desert, the wilderness, to bring good news to the poor, and that we will hear it. But first, we had to remember that the way was through the wilderness, not around it. We have to choose the wilderness to get through it, beyond it, and to understand what it will be to be filled with the Spirit's power and hear the voice of Christ calling and the good news that it will bring to the poor, even we who are poor in spirit and hungering for justice and righteousness. Amen.